Okay, what I'm also hearing then, if those matters are represented, and will you potentially, I know this is a hypothetical, but is there the chance that the more cases will go to the high courts?
Now, I mentioned how this was construed and conceived through collaboration between Indigenous leaders and constitutional conservatives. Julian Leeser, back then, before he was in Parliament, was the convener of the Conservative Samuel Griffiths Society. This guy loves the Constitution, right? He asked for a copy of the Constitution on his 10th birthday instead of a bike. He is the most paranoid guy when it comes to the High Court that I have ever met, honestly. He wrote about this amendment in 2016, long before Labor was pushing this. He wrote, "This is the kind of clause that Griffith, Barton and their colleagues might have drafted had they turned their minds to it. This is modestly drafted precisely to minimise High Court intervention and to keep Parliament in charge. This has been meticulously refined over 8-9 years with the leading experts around the country to make sure that we are not tied up in litigation and, in fact, that Indigenous people are empowered, their voices are empowered, but it is done in a way that upholds the Constitution, fits with the Constitution and completely respects the Parliament." The Liberal-appointed Solicitor General said that this would be an enhancement of our democracy, and he is joined by other leading Liberals like the New South Wales Liberal leader, Mark Speakman, a very respected barrister, who agrees that this is modest and it would be an enhancement of our democracy, not to mention all the majority weight of legal opinion that endorses this as legally sound. So I think this was the safest, most pragmatic and practical option for constitutional recognition of Indigenous peoples that was ever on the table. The remarkable thing is that Indigenous people, over 80% of Indigenous people, as repeated polls show, in their pragmatism, in their generosity, have adopted this constitutionally conservative form of recognition. And they're stretching out the hand of friendship to us non-Indigenous people, which I think is remarkable given what they've been through in this country. You know, the exclusion, the discrimination, the dispossession, the violence. Yet they're coming to us with hands outstretched saying, "Can you recognise us, please?" And all they're asking for is an advisory voice that keeps Parliament and government in charge.
Why do you think, in your opinion, would the people on the no side say this is actually dividing us?
Well, why? I think the reason is politics. I think the no case, and Peter Dutton decided, unfortunately, to play politics with this, and that's really sad for him and his party and for the country. But as I said, there are many really good principled Liberals, and Liberals for Yes is out there spruiking a yes vote in this upcoming referendum. So it's not about Labor or Liberal. It's about uniting the country. It's about right or wrong, not left and right. But on this point about will this divide us by race, or, you know, Dutton has claimed this will put race back into the Constitution, it's completely wrong. It's a lie, in fact. Unfortunately, race has been in the Constitution since 1901, and we've been divided by race under the Constitution since then. Indigenous people were excluded under race-based discriminatory clauses. No group has suffered more under those provisions than they. And there are 2 racist provisions still in the Constitution. You know, so it is completely incorrect to say that this divides us by race. This actually includes the original owners of this land who were previously excluded on the basis of race. This is about making a commitment to listening, to partnership, unity, you know, in contrast to the division and exclusion of the past. So this is about unifying, not dividing.
We have to wrap it up, unfortunately, but as a constitutional lawyer, in Australia, 8 out of 44 have been successful, so only 8 have won out of the 44. Not a great track record. It does look like, at this stage, the polls are saying it is going to be a no. In general terms, in constitutions, why do the majority of them fail?
It's a high threshold. You know, a successful referendum requires a majority of voters in a majority of states. So 4 out of 6 states need to vote yes, and a majority nationally. But this is not over yet. The yes side is definitely behind, but there is a week to go. There's 6 days to go. And I would say to every Australian, if you think that what Indigenous people are asking for here, to be recognised simply through having an advisory voice in decisions made about them, if you think that's fair, have conversations with your grandmother, your grandfather, your parents, your uncles, your aunties, your colleagues, because this is up to ordinary Australians. It is up to us to decide whether or not we recognise people in 2023.
All right. Well, we were crossing to Julia Bradley, our reporter in Parramatta, where you were just at the rally there. It was very crowded and, yes, 6 days' time. Thank you very much for joining us and for your expertise, and all the very best. Perhaps we'll talk to you in a week's time and see the outcome.
Thanks so much, Janie.
Thank you very much.